Monday, baby. Welcome into Let's Bet It. Lauren Jabbar here with Jared Smith, Jim Monis. We had a couple games yesterday, some crazy results. I know, Jared, you are no longer a Cardinals fan. Am I right?
No, I am out on Cliff Kingsbury. I did a tweet last night, 16 points, 11 penalties, 3 missed kicks, 2 botched snaps, and a partridge in a pear tree. And that's it. I'm done.
Merry
Out
Christmas, baby.
on the Cardinals after they've lost now 5 of their last 8 games. I mean, and it's hard, right, Jim? It's hard to turn the momentum around this late in the year. You want to be getting hot and peaking at the right time. They seem to be going in the opposite direction at this time.
Yeah, remember what we always talk about this time of year, health. You got to pay attention to the teams that are healthy right now. And Arizona, Connor was out, Moore was out, and when you already have Hopkins out, you need your full arsenal right now. So I do think that has to play a part in it. And Jared, come on, you know on this show you don't just give up on your spouse.
You're right. Their power rating is going to be too high, though, for me to – we'll see. We'll see what the power rating is, because I'll be honest, the Colts – they were almost a favorite, and then, some bad news for them with Darius Leonard moved that line to 3. When it got to 3 last night, I should have bet the Colts. That was a mistake on my part. But it's you got to give credit to Indy, I guess. Carson Wentz made like 3 or 4 really good throws in that game, and Frank Reich coached a great game. So I'm out on the Cardinals for now, Lauren. Maybe I'll be convinced
where he was like kind of off balance and threw it to the side for the touchdown. Like that's
one of the best throws of the year. I mean, that was an elite throw, and people trash Carson Wentz all the time.
He's better than people think that he is. I was literally sitting with my dad and brothers last night, and I'm like, people talk so much trash about Carson Wentz. He is so much better than people think he is. I feel like he's just one of those guys that it's just like easy to kind of dish out on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a little wonky. He makes some dumb turnovers, but he also makes some really, really good throws.
Elite plays. Well, you look at the Cardinals now, they're 3-5 in their last 8 games. So something to note moving forward here. One more week left before the postseason starts. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how things play out. All right. We have shows every single day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, commenting. We're getting you in on our best bets, especially with NFL postseason coming up. We got bowl games coming up too. I'm really looking forward to New Year's Eve, watching my Michigan Wolverines take on the Georgia Bulldogs.
Big game for you.
It's going to be a really, really exciting one. So make sure to like, subscribe, comment. We're here every day with you, 10 a.m. Eastern time. Today, full slate of NFL games. We're going to get you through basically all of them, our best bets. Maybe if we're not even betting them, we're talking about ways we'd be leaning, props that we have. So let's take you through it. If you have questions, make sure to type them in the chat. We'll definitely be answering a lot of those throughout the show. And then we can't end without our Pickswise 3-star play of the day. So without further ado, you guys, let's get into it. Let's bet it. Let's start Rams taking on the Vikings here. This is, a bigger game for the Vikings if they have any chance to be a playoff team. The Rams coming off of a big victory over Seattle. The defense played well. Offense wasn't as crisp. Jared, what do you see when you're looking at a game like the Rams taking on the Vikings?
Well, the big news earlier in the week that actually didn't impact the line was Dalvin Cook being announced out on the big C list. And so no Cook today. That means it's going to be Alexander Mattison, who I'll be honest. I mean, those are both similar. I mean, I know I would say Dalvin Cook is above Mattison, but I don't think it downgrades the Vikings' chances of winning this game too much because Mattison is a very strong running back, and he's done a great job this year. Adam Thielen coming back. I think it was the ankle injury for Thielen that he was testing out this morning. We got word late last night that he is going to be back. I'll be honest. I think Cook being out, and Thielen being in, I think Thielen being in impacts this game more because it gives Cousins now the duality of the weapons where he has Justin Jefferson on one side and Thielen on the other side. And I'll be honest, I don't really have a really good feel for this Rams team. They've been really cold at times. They've been really hot at times. Stafford didn't look great on the Tuesday night, but I give him a pass because it was a weird kind of, schedule for him. But I think at 3 in the hook, those hooks are evaporating rather quickly. You have to pay about 15, 20 cents for them now, and only a couple shops still have them. I locked in 3.5 last night, laying 15 cents at win. That's where I'm at on this game position-wise. I think 3 in the hook, it's a solid unit bet on Minnesota.
Jim, I look at the Google sheet. No bet for you on this game, but if you're looking at it just from, an outsider's perspective, what are you seeing when you look at this game?
This game had me fascinated too, Jared. I wanted to take, me and Kirk Cousins, we have our thing together, and we've actually had a really good year after a rocky start. He's after the loss to Cooper Rush against Dallas. We've had a nice little comeback, and I love the way Minnesota's playing right now. This game scares me because the Rams, I can't figure out. Like, if the Rams committed to the running game today, Minnesota can't stop the run.
Yeah.
27th in run defense. If the Rams really wanted to come out and run the ball, I feel good about taking them, but I don't feel good about the Rams. I never can trust the Vikings right now, especially without Cook. That does scare me a little bit, putting it all on Cousins, but getting Thielen back's big. Stay away game for me. I wish everybody luck on this one. It is going to be a good game.
Whitworth out is big, the left tackle.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I'll add. Yeah,
Minnesota gets after the quarterback.
Yeah, and obviously, I think there's still some trepidation backing Kirk Cousins in a big game, but he's at home. It's not in prime time.
He's had a really good season. He's played really well this year.
His QBR is good. Well. And I think Madison's fine. Like, I do think as good as Dalvin Cook is, they have, I would say, one of the best backups in the league. So I do think this is I think 3.5 with the Vikings at home, considering they're the more desperate team, is probably a strong play.
Desperation. You know what I mean? Like you never underestimate a team's mentality in a game like this where they have to win if they want to have any chance of being a playoff team this year.
You're right.
So I know. For me, I actually bet this game. I bet the over 48.5. You look at the Rams.
I like that.
Coming off of a victory over Seattle, right? I said the defense played well. Offense wasn't necessarily as crisp. I think it will be this week. And Minnesota has also been playing pretty well on offense. So I think I'm looking for a lot of points in a game like this with the Vikings pulling off the home upset. I think that the Vikings are going to win straight up in this game. But some other stats: Rams 2-4 against the spread as road favorites. Vikings 2-1 against the spread as home dogs. And they're also 2-1 versus NFC West this year. So that's going to be really, really interesting to see how this plays out. One of the games I'm most looking forward to, the Bills taking on the Patriots. It's a rematch from what we saw a few weeks ago, and it was like 10 degrees and the winds were blowing. There wasn't quite a Bahama breeze, Jared, if you will.
No, that was not a Bahama breeze. It
was a Buffalo blow because, or I guess the New England blow. I don't even know. I'm done.
It's NSFW there.
The Patriots. It's going to be a really, really fun rematch. And this is essentially a game for the division title. Jim, because you're in Buffalo right now, I'm going to come to you first. What are you seeing when you look at this?
So this is a game I am playing because if anybody watches this show, I think as a team, we've been on Buffalo a lot over these last couple of weeks and had heartbroken against the crazy game against the Patriots, crazy game against Tampa. I still feel like the Bills are the better team and the more complete team. They're still number one in defense on yards per play. New England, 15th on offense in yards per play. So they can hold this team down, I think. They can hold New England down. Mac Jones, Josh Allen, big gap in talent. Josh Allen needs to start showing everybody. I'm a believer in Josh Allen. And I'm not even, I got to say, I'm not even a huge Bills fan. I keep telling her, Sean McDermott fired me. I mean, I got the guy the interview and he fired me. I should hate the Bills, but I actually root for them because I really respect Josh Allen and I just love football and analyzing, and we're betting. And Jared, as we know, betting, put all personal things aside.
Yes.
This Bills team plays defense. They play offense. They play special teams. I think they're a complete team, but they got to win one of these games. They have to establish themselves. They could go from 7th seed right now. If they win these last 3 games, which are all winnable for them, they could be a 1 seed.
Yeah.
So I think they win today. I like the Bills today.
Yeah, Jared, who are you on?
I like the Bills too. So I have them in a teaser leg to 8.5. You're not going to be able to move that now because it's down to 1. I would still say a teaser to 7's not bad. And I do think the Bills win this game. First of all, it's really tough to beat a team twice in the same season. We saw that, especially in a short period of time. This game was 3 weeks ago in Buffalo. And we saw that with Cleveland and Baltimore earlier this season. You know, they played those back-to-back games, which is a little different, I guess, than having a 3-week gap between. But still, it is noteworthy that it is difficult to win back-to-back games against your division rival with everything on the line. Cole Beasley out, Gabriel Davis out, Emmanuel Sanders in. Which is, I mean, say what you want about Davis, who's been playing well, and Beasley, who's kind of been their slot guy. But I would put Emmanuel Sanders in front of both of those two guys when Emmanuel's healthy. And I think that should help the Bills' offense today. On the Patriots side, they're kind of in a little bit of a precarious spot with their weapons. So Stevenson out, N'Keal Harry questionable, Aguilar out. I saw Kendrick Bourne in. That's huge. If Bourne was out and Aguilar was out and it was just Jacoby Myers and maybe N'Keal Harry, who's questionable. Mac Jones already has enough issues, moving the ball because, that's really that's not the strength of this Patriots team is their offense. And so I would have been a little more concerned for the Patriots if both Bourne and Aguilar were out. It's just Aguilar. But I still think the Bills have the edge. And I think Josh Allen, you're going to see. Here's what I want to see. And Jim, I'm curious your thoughts here. What we saw last week against Carolina, 4th and 2, the Bills are up 10 with 2 minutes left, and Brian Dable throws a bullet to the end zone to put the game away. Yeah. Show me that kind of, go for the throat mentality with Josh Allen this week, especially in the red zone. And if they do, I think they'll play better than they did 3 weeks ago. Hopefully they can solve whatever issues they had stopping the run. And I do think the Bills win this game. I really do.
Because of that, you know me, I love my plus money line. I could only find it, like, honestly, FanDuel, it's a minus line. I found it at plus 100, so just barely in that plus spot.
And it's gone now. It's all minus 105.
I know, I bet it this morning at plus 100. What is it at now, Jared?
It's basically minus 105 across the board. Unfortunately, I didn't get my bet in before it moved, so you are you're the sharpest tool on the show. You've got the best price of Bills money line of any of us on the show. So congratulations.
Call me a screwdriver. I was trying to think of a sharp tool. I don't know. I don't use tools ever. I don't
No, you don't. We already tried to get the Peloton together.
I got the Bills money line at plus 100 this morning. I'm glad I locked that in around 8 a.m. Eastern time. But again, this is essentially a game for the division title. Bills win. They have 2 winnable games left on their schedule. If the Patriots win, they pretty much lock up the division. So this is going to be fun. There's not going to be wind like there was in Buffalo. No. That was insane. I remember just watching the 2 kickers warming up for the game, and they were trying to kick into the wind. Field goal, it was like 35 yards, and they kicked it, and the ball just like came back.
Or the best was when they were kicking with the wind, and they were kicking off, and the ball went into the stands.
Right.
I've never seen that before.
It's wild. It's wild.
No, I was going to say about that game too is the Patriots, they just hide Mac Jones in a game like that.
Yes.
Like, okay.
They can't hide Mac Jones today.
They only have 3 completions that night.
And if you watch some of the throws,
3 attempts, 2 completions.
Some of the throws Josh Allen made in that game were phenomenal.
Yeah,
like
that's
in the wind.
In the wind.
Guys, this is actually like the point that I was going to make. Is there's not going to be wind like last meeting. There is going to be snow, and I think this favors the better passing team, which is the Bills. Right?
Agreed.
They get revenge from the wind game. They take it behind a good day by Josh Allen. This is the Bills' day today.
And Emmanuel Sanders coming back, I think, is big, and the Patriots are definitely banged up on offense.
Yeah.
And I think and again, Brian Dable, right? Like Jim, that's the key. He needs to come out and they need to be aggressive. I want to see Josh Allen rip the ball down the field early and often in this game. The Patriots secondary is the weak spot of that defense.
And they're banged up.
Yeah.
They're banged up in their secondary. So it's time for the Bills to expose. I agree.
This is the day to bet. The Bills are going to win this game today.
And Josh Allen, 2-0-1 against the spread in Foxborough. You love to see that. It. The stats favor you. Stats are for losers unless they're on your side. Okay, let's take it to the dog game of the week. Woo! Jared's team. Jags taking on the Jets. This is just like both teams are looking towards next year at this point. This game doesn't really matter, but it's still an exciting game because it's Jared's team. Jared, you're on it.
It's not an exciting game. And so here's the thing about this game. I gave this game out on Pickswise Playbook.
Yeah.
And then all of the issues started to pop up for the Jags. So defensively, Josh Allen out. Defensively, one of their other linebackers is out. Miles Jack, the Big C. So Big C is ravaging the Jaguars. Well, Big C is ravaging the Jets too. Their head coach out. I saw like 8 other starters. Hold on, let me pull up the depth chart right here. Ready? Here you go. Their entire secondary: Ashton Davis, Elijah Riley, C.J. Mosley's questionable. They're starting left guard, the rookie Elijah Vera Tucker. They're starting right guard, another really solid player, George Fant, questionable. I mean, I'm looking up and down this Jets lineup, and it's all either out, Big C, or questionable with injury. The Jaguars' injuries and the Big C's on the Jags are important too. Those 2 linebackers, Allen and Jack, are big.
Those are big.
I don't know what to make of this game. I don't think the Jets are going to win by more than a score. So this is the shit tease of the week. Like
That's what I'm saying. This is the dog game that no one cares about.
No, so I don't see if the Jets win this game, it's going to be by field goal, and so I'm fine with teasing the Jags. But Ortenberg likes the Jags actually, straight up. He was on the show we did the show Friday. He picked the Jags.
I saw that.
I don't know if I'm ready to go that far, but I did put him in my super contest this week because I needed a 5th pick and I trust AO. But if you can stay away from this game, I would recommend staying away.
We have a good question in the chat right now. 3 teams, 7-point teaser. Jacks over 34, New England under 50.5, and ATL pick'em. Jared, what do you think?
No opinion.
Wow.
What? Okay, two things. First of all, we don't tease totals on the show.
No.
Yeah.
So I do have an opinion. Bad teaser. We don't tease totals. Second of all, we don't do 3-team teasers unless it's a 10-pointer and we're moving through key numbers on the favorite side. Or we're moving a dog up to like a big number, like a 10.5-point dog to like 20. I have no opinion on that. And if the one opinion I would have is negative because we don't tease totals.
Okay. Jim, you too?
Yeah, I like Jared's thought. I don't mess with totals like that, Jared. I learned that from you. You preached about it, and I'm not messing with totals.
What the hell do I know? I'm having a losing year in the NFL. So.
No, but I hope that tease loses because I want the Bills to put up about 40 today. So
I'd like to see that.
All right, cross-state border rivalry game. Not really a rivalry, but still a game. Philly. Let's take you.
This is a rivalry.
No, this is a rivalry.
This is a rivalry.
Yep. Let's take you over the border from New York to Philly. The Giants taking on the Eagles. The Eagles beat up an undermanned Washington team. Dominating rushing performance last week from them. The Giants looked bad, losing at home last week to the Cowboys. Jim, what are you expecting from this one?
Well, this is a great matchup for Philly. The Giants can't stop the run. The Eagles are number one. To stop Philly, you have to stop the run. And obviously, Hurts is a big part of that. Mm-hmm. And for the Giants not to be able to do it, that's a bad matchup for the Giants. He's average as it gets.
Get out of here with that.
Average as it gets. I'm just telling you, he's so average. Everything about him screams average. So I don't know how you play I don't know how you don't play Philly in this game. Mm-hmm. But this is a game I probably won't play. Jared, are you on this on a teaser?
Yeah, listen, I think I actually haven't locked in my 10-point teaser yet because I was waiting for COVID. I was waiting for the big C to kind of settle this week. I'm trying to calling
COVID the big C.
I'm trying to stop calling it COVID because it's bothering me. And I heard on a podcast a couple weeks ago this guy that I like call it the big C, and I'm stealing it from him. Yeah, that's another one too. But see, to me, I like Corona beer, and I don't want to ruin Corona beer for the rest of my life. So I think Big C is my new catchphrase for it. Mm-hmm. I will likely lock in a 10-point teaser before game time. Philly will be the number one leg on it. So I don't know if this is going to affect the game or not. Maybe Jim can give some perspective here because he's been on the front office side of this. But the Giants, I got an alert right before I went to bed last night, took the dog out for a walk at like midnight, and then started to put my head on the pillow, watch some like Netflix stuff. And all of a sudden I get an alert from Rappaport that said the Giants next year will be bringing back Daniel Jones and Joe Judge. And I thought to myself, is that really a thing you want to announce the night before a game? No. Right? Like, because I bet there's some people in that locker room that won't be around next year that don't like Joe Judge. And there are probably some people in that locker room that believe in Daniel Jones. But I bet there's some people out there that maybe don't in that locker. I bet there's a locker when you're having a really bad season, right? They're split. There's a little bit of opinions on either side or the other. I'm not saying it's going to affect the game, but I thought the timing of that at midnight on a Saturday, the night before a divisional game, was interesting. What do you think about that, Jim?
The whole makeup, the whole distractions of the Giants right now.
Yes, exactly. It's a distraction. It's a distraction.
That's all it is. Yeah. Who's going to be our quarterback? Are we going after Russell Wilson? Is Joe Judge going to have total control? Are we going to fire Dave Gettleman, the GM, which they're going to? There's so much up in the air with that Giant franchise right now. It's just, I want no part of anything with them right now.
The Eagles should win this game. The question is by how much. We were at the game a few weeks ago when they just couldn't move the ball at all against this Giants defense. I'm guessing they move it better this week. I would assume they win.
This will be the tease game that I do, the biggest upset of the day. Fromm will be the next.
Stop it. The Jake Fromm, they moved the ball last week with Fromm. There was like no defense at all. He had like one deep pass over the middle. It was all soft coverage. Fromm's gonna. I would not base my bet off of what you saw in that little stretch from Fromm a couple weeks ago or last week.
Fun story about Jake Fromm. I remember like years ago, we were watching the Little League World Series. I was on vacation with my family. We were watching the Little League World Series, and this kid, Jake Fromm, pitcher, he was like the leadoff hitter, like for the Little League World Series. And we're like, and this kid was like 12 years old at the time, probably like 6'2". My dad's like, wow, this kid is like whatever. And then like years later, we were talking about like, we're like, whatever happened to that guy, Jake Fromm? Guess what? The next year he pops up, Georgia's starting quarterback, Jake Fromm. We're like, no way is that the same kid that was playing in the Little League World Series. We were watching it in the Bahamas like years ago. It was just so funny. So fun fact about Jake Fromm. Anyways, moving on. Well, actually, I have a couple of stats for this game. So the line opened for Philly, -8.5, moved to -10. The Eagles are 3-1 against the spread as the favorite this year. It is a short week for the Eagles, right? So they're getting a day off, maybe. Will they? I don't even know. Did they get a day off this week, Jim? Do you know?
Philly from that short. Yeah, they had to have. They had
you
to.
Think?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Let's take it to the Ravens taking on the Bengals. This line was strong at Cincinnati -2.5. Now it's Bengals -7. So Huntley is out in this game. John Johnson is in. Jared, what do you think?
Josh Johnson, but John Johnson might be a better name for him after this one. This is just a weird. So John Johnson III. No, I don't know.
JJ. I'll just say JJ because
JJ. This game just totally screwed my entire week. I felt so good about the Ravens in this game with Huntley.
Yeah.
I thought this was the classic market overreacts. Lamar Jackson announced out on the game day morning, or it was early last night. And he didn't travel with the team. And the line would move in Cincinnati's favor. And I would bet Baltimore as a dog. Jim, I know you saw this tweet yesterday. John Harbaugh, 8-0 against the spread in same-side revenge games in his career. Like, this game was setting up to be the perfect dog spot. I was going to bet Ravens money line, sprinkle it. And then the Huntley news came, and it just came crashing down. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Josh Johnson played well in the one game in the backup role, coming in off the bench for an injured Mike White in the Thursday night game against the Colts. But it was all garbage time mostly. And, the Colts were up big and it was soft coverage. So I don't really look too much into that game and say, oh, Josh Johnson can really, sling it. Jim, I know you have a much better experience with him, through your time, scouting him over the last few years. But this is a stay away now for me. Unfortunately, I already locked in my Ravens teaser legs earlier in the week before this news. I was able to get back on the Bengals at -4.5 to balance it a little bit. Maybe we middle. Maybe the Ravens lose by 7. But I wanted to wash my hands of this game because I don't know what we're going to get from Josh Johnson, Jim. Maybe you can fill me in on what we're going to see from him.
I could sell you on Josh. I love Josh Johnson.
Sell me on Josh Johnson.
Yeah,
I really do. There's very few backups this is what he's done his whole life, like in the NFL, where he gets shipped around from team to team, has to learn an offense quick. He's really smart. He's really tough, loves football, crazy competitive, very talented guy. He's just never found a home. We had him in Buffalo. I worked in the AAF for a short time, and we drafted Josh Johnson, but couldn't get him out of his contract with Washington. But he is so built for this situation. Yeah. So I wouldn't want to give up on this Baltimore, because the Baltimore can stop the run. So you're going to make Cincinnati, you're going to make the Bengals at least kind of hopefully be one, which Joe Burrow is phenomenal, but at least, and we know the struggle Baltimore has in the secondary. So this game is scary for that part, but I wouldn't give up on Josh Johnson. I don't see it as a huge drop-off from Huntley. Really? He just doesn't know the offense that well. That's
the market said it was about a 2.5-point drop-off because it went from 4.5 to 7.
Josh Johnson is built for this, and I'm just telling you, he's built for this. I don't want to sit there and say take him, but I wouldn't be afraid of it because of Josh.
I was leaning Bengals laying the points in this game, and now I think I'm going to stay away. But you look at it, like the Bengals dominated the Ravens, right, in Baltimore early in the year. Joe Burrow had a big day. The Ravens secondary, like you said, Jim, are an issue, but Burrow, I think he has another big day here. But you're now saying Josh Johnson, don't give up on him. I thought the Bengals are the better team. They're going to show it, but I don't necessarily know if I'd feel comfortable
Hey.
laying 7 at this point.
I'm pumping up Josh Johnson. I'm not touching this game. So don't get it twisted too hard.
I feel terrible because my best bets column, it had all these Ravens teasers in it, and I had to kind of like do an about face. I mean, I added the Bengals to kind of cover it, but now I see, here's my problem, Jim. I get so like cold feet on games because of the news. And like, I've been doing this for 20 years and I've never, now granted, I don't remember what I was 20 years ago is a very different news cycle than it is now, even 10 years ago. But I don't remember a time in my capping career, my gambling career, where I've been so like cold feet on games because of the news cycle. Like like every like notification that I get, it's like my heart is in my throat.
Yeah. It's like I'm on edge all the time. You
just never know when these landmines are dropping.
Literally. Something that does favor the Ravens, though, they are 4-1 against the spread in the last 5, 4-0 against the spread as dogs. So something to keep an eye on. Maybe Josh Johnson will come out strong, and it's going to be a close game between the two. We'll see.
I hope so.
I had the Bengals laying the points, but at this point, I'm staying away from it as well. So we'll go there. Another game, Bucs at Panthers. The Bucs banged up. Coming off of a shutoff loss to the Saints, they're going to want some revenge. Carolina defense is going to present another tough challenge for Tom Brady, especially when he's down his top 2 receivers. Jim, what are you seeing when you look at this game?
This is a game, Jared, too, I was going to ask you about early in the week. I thought this was a lot of points for a Carolina defense that does play well. Their offense is so inept right now. I don't even know what you're going to get in Carolina's offense. It's not even like real. And that being said, they hung in there with Buffalo. They didn't go away against Buffalo. They were there. I think this is a lot of points. I'm not going to play the game because I hate Carolina's offense so bad, and it just pains me to see Cam Newton look this bad because he was one of my all-time favorite players. And it's just to see him play like this, I just go away. I don't even want to watch him look like this. It's like watching one of those old NBA players that come back and they can't dunk anymore. You're like, that's how I feel with Cam. I'm like, come on, Cam, get out of here. But I do think Carolina's defense I think it keeps them competitive. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't see it at all.
Sam Darnold is going to play in this game from what I'm hearing.
Yeah. What does that mean? Like, does that mean like
good luck?
Right.
I mean, the Bucs are coming off of a loss. Brady's 50-13 straight up off a loss in his entire career. Jack was all about that nugget this week. Shout out producer Jack finding those dirty nuggets. Love those nuggets.
50-13.
It's had a lot of. That means that he's lost a lot of games in his career. Is what that means.
Okay.
No, listen. I love Brady. I think he's in a tough spot today, though. And I think this is a game that I could definitely see Carolina keeping close, but I think the Bucs win. Okay. I think the Bucs win the game. And I'll be honest, I think they see a little bit of opportunity to climb the standings. Arizona weakness. The Rams are in a tough game today, and the Bucs now are on the outside of that 1 seed. The Packers, that game was close last night too. The Packers could have easily slipped up last night, and that would have given the Bucs an opportunity to kind of steal that 1 seed back. Dallas is right there too. We'll get to the Cowboys in a minute. This is a game where you either tease that again. It's a good 10-point teaser game. You get from 11 down to 1, but that's the only angle I have here. I know, Lauren, you've got a more interesting angle though here for this game.
I have a prop. I'm not on the game. I'm not on the spread. I'm not on the game straight up. I'm not on the over under. I look at it. No Godwin, no Fournette, no Evans. Likely. Is Evans out officially now? I think he's out.
Let me look. Give me a second. I got to pull up their depth chart.
Anyway, so you look at Antonio Brown's back. Rojo is the lead back, but Le'Veon
Evans
Bell
is out. Evans is out.
So Le'Veon Bell, entering the chat. I think on Sunday with limited weapons, choose from all 3 of these guys are going to find a way to basically pay dirt, get points on the board for the Bucs. So I look at this value here. I found this on BetMGM. Le'Veon Bell, anytime touchdown, plus 300. I'm sprinkling it on there because you look at Rojo, Antonio Brown, both of their touchdown props are in the minus numbers. I like my plus money props, my plops. So Le'Veon Bell, anytime touchdown. I'm not betting a lot on it, but I'm definitely sprinkling it. I wanted to bet this game at plus 300. I like the value.
I don't hate that at all. I'll be honest though. I'd be shocked if he was a big part of the offense today. I would be surprised. I'm
never
That's
know.
not to say that he can't score, and every time I doubt one of your picks, it hits. So maybe this is a good thing for you. But I would be
Diggs over a half reception that I got at like plus 500, and everyone's
on
like
the last play of the game.
What? That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Guess what? It
hit. I didn't say it was dumb. I said I wouldn't have given that out as a best bet. That's all. That was what I said. Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape. I said I wouldn't have given it out as a best bet, but it was it turned out to be a great bet. And now, of course, Jack is commenting.
Where Jared is fading Lauren's pick? How does
I'm
that
not
usually
fading
work
you.
out?
I'm just not tailing you. But here's the thing. Here's the thing about Le'Veon Bell. What have we seen from him that makes you think, oh, he's just going to turn the light switch on in Tampa? Like, he's bounced around like 5 different teams in the last 2 years. He was on the Jets. Yeah. He was back on the Chiefs. That didn't work. Then he was on the Ravens.
5 games with the Ravens. That's what I got for you.
He scored?
Yeah, twice.
That's a good stat.
Okay. All right.
We're going with it, Jared. We're going with it. And when it hits, I'll buy you a coffee. I'll send you a.
No, you won't. You're gonna send me a text message with like the emoji.
Little pat on the back. It's okay. All right, let's take it to my favorite team ever to watch every single week. The Lions heading south to the big old ATL. The Lions impressed in a huge way last week against the Cardinals. You love to see it. Atlanta blew too many scoring chances in the losing to the 49ers. That was like Jim puts his arms up. Jim, I'll come to you first because you were heated about this when we were talking about it before the show.
Yeah, heated because I had Atlanta last week a little bit. So this Detroit team has been good to me this year. I feel bad doing this, but it's not personal. I think this Atlanta offense is going to put up a lot of points today to cover this number. That's how I feel about it. I feel the Detroit defense, the secondary, terrible. Atlanta went up and down the field on a very good San Francisco defense. I mean, they're going to do that today against Detroit. And we got a backup quarterback playing. Goff was actually showing signs of life a little bit for Detroit. He was. A little bit. But Boyle, I'm not buying it. Atlanta's they're still playing. I think they're still fighting for, even though their playoff hopes are pretty much done. Mm-hmm. They're still showing out for a first-year head coach, first-year GM. Yes. So they're still fighting for their jobs, new contract. I like their offense. Matt Ryan can't lose to Tim Boyle. That's where I'm going today.
Yeah, this is like the LJ game. You got LJ's old home, Detroit, and LJ's new home, Atlanta. Interesting spot for Matt Ryan, because I think when you look at Matt Ryan, this is a game that you would expect him to play very well in.
Yes.
But that seems to be the games that they play the worst in, right? Which makes it really hard to kind of pick this game.
Yeah.
I think I would lean Atlanta because it is Boyle, and I think Goff, as you know, people shit on Carson Wentz. People love to just take shots at Jared Goff, but the numbers say he's been a slightly above average quarterback this year. Slightly. His EPA numbers are bad, which is not good, but some of his other numbers have been decent, and he's had some decent performances in the clutch. Last week, I don't know what to make of last week's game. I think after watching the Cardinals last night, I downgrade the Lions' performance a little bit last week.
This is an overreaction Sunday, Jared. The Lions earned that win fair and square.
Oh, no, they definitely earned the win fair and square. But my point is, I don't think Arizona's very good right now. And that was a classic letdown spot for Arizona last week off of their short week Monday night loss to the Rams. And the Lions jumped on them early, and the Cardinals just kind of coasted through that game. And I think Atlanta's going to be up for this game at home, and all the points that Jim makes about, the first-year head coach who continues to show improvement, especially on offense. The defense for Atlanta is terrible, but they're not going to be tested today against the Lions offense, who are just devoid. I mean, even they're just devoid of weapons all over the field. Yeah. So I wouldn't lay 6 with Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins the game. This actually isn't a bad teaser spot, 6 points. If it gets up to 6.5 or 7, then it's a really good teaser spot for Atlanta. But it's probably a stay away for me.
So for me, every single week, I bet the Lions money line
Money
because
line.
I'm rooting for them anyways. Like, that's my team. I'm rooting for them anyways. So all I got, this is not an educated bet at all, but I'm saying it because I am betting it.
You're betting it with your heart, not your head.
Bring on the boil, baby. Bring on the boil. That's all I got to say about that. Lions money line plus 240. I don't bet a lot on them every week, but I do bet the Lions money line every week. So that's the only reason I'm saying that. If I wasn't a Lions fan, I would probably stay away.
I'm pretty sure you're up this year. I'll look up. I'll do that at the end of the year. I like to do that at the end of the year. I like to pick out the bad teams, like the really bad teams that win like 4 or 5 games, and yet their money lines are still, if you just blindly bet their money line every week, you made money because it's 4 or 5 to 1 most weeks.
That's what I do.
I bet the Lions are up at the end of the year money line wise. I'll have to look that up later. At the end
that's
of the
what
year.
I do. I sprinkle it on Lions money line every single week because I'm already rooting for them in the games, right? So
Of course.
at that point, I'm like, unless I really have a strong conviction that I'm like, maybe not. Like,
I mean, they were like 5 to 1 on the money line last week against Arizona.
Yeah.
So you made up for 5 weeks of losing in one game if you bet the money line.
That is true, Jared. Bring on the boil, baby. Let's go.
Lauren, you got Bring on the Boil. You got Buffalo Blow.
Buffalo Blow. I'm surprised we didn't get any
Blow.
comments in the chat about that. Like, we're gonna get like the Angry Teachers Association of America telling Lauren that she needs to settle down her language here on the show.
Yeah,
that can go. That can go a lot of different ways.
It can.
Okay, let's move on from this. Steelers taking on the Chiefs. Steelers are pretty much playing for their playoff lives at this point. It's not going to be easy against the best team in the AFC. Chiefs have played great defense over the last 5 games. Jared, are you on this one?
I'm not. So this was on the radar for 10-point teaser land.
Yeah.
But just the big C issues for the Steelers and the Chiefs, frankly. The Chiefs more
himself from saying it.
More issues for the Chiefs than the Steelers. Kelsey out. It does look like Tyreek Hill will play in this game, which is huge. But Kelsey's out. They've got their tire starting right. The right side of their offensive line is out, Long and Niang. But you know what? I think when you look at Jones and Clark up front, Pittsburgh's offense has been really bad. Like really, really bad. And just something about, like, I don't know how they won that game. What was it, last week, 2 weeks ago, when they had like 180 yards against the Titans and they won a professional football game. That to me is big. They've got some big outs on the defensive line. Wormley, Buggs, Devin Bush out. The Chiefs are going to win this game. The question is how much. I think the Steelers probably can keep it close because you're right. They are fighting for their playoff lives. But I would be shocked if the Steelers win this game. I really would.
Yeah, I look at this game too, and 11 points is just a lot to be laying for the Chiefs, in my opinion.
Sure.
Like, I kind of like the Steelers and the points. I think the Chiefs are going to win. The Steelers are going to hang around. Never underestimate, again, the mentality and motivation of a team. If you're playing for your playoff lives, you're going to come out there and give it everything that you freaking have. You're going to lay your body on the line.
They can still win the division.
Yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they're going to win this game, but 11 points is a lot. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to be able to cover 11. I like the Steelers plus the points. Jim, how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel like the Steelers I can't stand because they're going to look terrible. They're not going to get any yards on offense, and they'll cover, or they might win the game. I can't figure out the Steelers. Like you said, Lauren, I think the Chiefs win. It wouldn't shock me at all for the Steelers to cover that number, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not touching the game, though. I'm not touching it.
News: Chiefs D tackle Chris Jones will play today, activated off the reserve / Big C list, if you will, Jared. That's per ESPN.
Very huge.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I'll be honest. There's English Premier League games happening today that I'd rather bet on than this game because of just all the uncertainty. There's just a lot of, this is a tough game to bet on because the Chiefs know. So at this stage of the season, laying big numbers is very precarious, especially with a team like the Chiefs. They know the number 1 seed is right there for the taking. It is right there. They need to keep winning because the Titans have the tiebreaker over them, and they need to keep pace. They give 2 craps about how many points they win this game by. Mm-hmm. All they care about is that their score is 1 point better than the Steelers at the end of the day. So laying big numbers with team, that's how I feel about the playoffs too. I will not be laying more than 3 or 4 points in any playoff.
Yeah, that's a
game.
lot of points to be laying.
And this is basically a playoff game. It's an elimination game for the Steelers, I think.
Yeah.
And it's an elimination game for the 1 seed for the Chiefs. And the 1 seed matters more now than it did in prior years because now there's only 1 bye, where in the prior years there was 2 byes. Obviously, you want the 1 seed because if it's 1-2 in the AFC Championship game, you get the home field. But there was less of an urgency to be the 1 seed, where now it is urgent number 1 to get that bye. It is so important to get that bye. So I think the Chiefs will be motivated for this game, obviously, but they don't care how many points they win it by. And I don't mind the Steelers getting 11 because they're going to probably be in this game and maybe it'll be a backdoor.
They're going to be playing for the playoff lives. They're going to have a lot of motivation, a lot of intensity.
Yes. They will pull out all the stops, no doubt. But defensively, they've got some guys out, which scares me.
Let's talk about a pick'em game. Broncos taking on the Raiders. The Raiders won a tough road game with the schedule change against the Browns. Now they must play a short week, right? The Broncos starting Drew Lock because Teddy Bridgewater had that injury last game, which you hate to see that. Jim, I know you're on this game. Who do you like when you look at it?
I do like Denver in this game because Vegas cannot stop the run. And Denver has a good running game that helps a backup quarterback. Lock, here's one thing you get with a backup. This Lock feels like he should be the starter. So, he's going to come out, and he's playing for another team right now. The thing in Denver's done, right? But Lock has a cocky attitude about him. He goes out. He is a good athlete, big arm. He can make plays. He's going to do something that's going to drive me nuts today. He's going to throw a bad pick. He does that every game too. But he is competitive. And I do feel like Denver's defense has played really well. Vegas offense, I don't trust. I just feel like I'm taking a better coach team right now in Denver than Vegas. I like this game. I'm going to play Denver. I can't believe I'm taking Drew Lock. I don't love him, but I'm just telling you, he's not a horrible athlete.
I like Denver a lot too, actually. I might add Denver to my card. I just want to wait because they've got some interesting injury issues on the defensive line. Harris, Purcell, Jones, Kenny Young's out. Kareem Jackson in the secondary is questionable. All those guys I mentioned up front, Harris, Purcell, Jones, those are all questionable. So we'll have to wait until later, closer to game time. And I'm okay with losing a point of value on the line because if it goes from a pick 'em to -1 or -1.5 when those guys get announced out, I'm fine with paying for that information. I like Denver for 2 reasons. One of them, Jim pointed out, 100% lock. This is it for him. This might be the last start, the last 2 starts of his career this week, with 3 starts, this week, next week, and the week after. This definitely will be the last 3 starts of his career in Denver. His contract situation is very flexible. I'm sure the Broncos are going to cut him in the offseason. John Elway's been brutal with picking quarterbacks. But I think in general, when you look at this game, Vegas has been trending downward since the Gruden, Arnett, Ruggs, not Ruggs, the wide receiver. Henry Ruggs. Yeah, Henry Ruggs. Since that, it was like 3 straight weeks. It was like Gruden first, then Ruggs, then Arnett. All 3 guys, key cogs to their team. Obviously the head coach, obviously 2 first-round picks from last year. Since then, it's been a slow decline to oblivion for this Raiders team. And I love their running game. You got Williams and Gordon both healthy. Williams playing on the upside of his career. Gordon kind of on the downside, the back 9, but still very much a factor. And the fact that this line's a pick'em and it's in Vegas tells me that the books favor Denver on a neutral field, which I think is the right call here. Vegas hasn't had a great home field advantage this year, so I think this is a good spot to get Denver. And they're a prideful organization. I know that they're not going to make the playoffs this year. And I do think Drew Lock has, some bullets left in the chamber. And he's going to want to show those other scouts watching that he can still throw it. So I'm waiting for those defensive injuries to settle in. But I'm definitely on Denver at some point today. Probably, 3, 4 o'clock, once an actives roster comes out.
The Raiders are 1-6 against the spread in their last 7 games. Also something to note, the under is 7-1. 7-1 in the last 8 Broncos games. So just something to take note of moving forward. Okay, one more game that we're talking about. The only team, the Washington
football
team, taking on the Cowboys. Washington should have Taylor Heineke back off the COVID list. This is a tough road game on a short week, though, and that matters. The Cowboys, Jared, they haven't necessarily played well on offense lately, but I think that's going to change in this game. What do you think?
I don't know. I think Dallas's offense is not the story here. I think Dallas's defense, to me, is the story.
Yeah.
So their left tackle, Teron Smith, is out for this game. That is big. Washington's getting back Taylor Heineke. That is big. But Dallas's defense is the story. And the football team has 2 starters out on the interior offensive line. Their center, Tyler Larson, out. The right guard, Brandon Scherf, out. Injuries for him, not the big C. Gibson, questionable, but I think he's going to play. And when you look at the Dallas defense, the numbers that I look at, the EPA numbers and the DVOA numbers, they say over the last 6 to 8 weeks, Dallas is arguably one of the best defenses in the league. They're right there numbers-wise with New England and Buffalo. And I think New England's numbers are a little fugazi because of some of the offenses that they've played.
What was that word that you just used?
Fugazi? You like that word? It's an Italian word for fake.
I'm going to start working into my repertoire.
I love fugazi.
Old mob movies usually use that word, right, Jared?
Okay.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of Sopranos.
Watching more old mob movies, apparently.
Yeah, it's all those Sopranos reruns I've been watching on Netflix the last few days since Christmas. But I think the Dallas defense, I'll be honest, if there's a team that can wreck the party in the NFC, that can wreck the Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady party, which it looks like that looks like to be, I'd be shocked if one of those guys is not in the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady. But if there is a team that can wreck that party, it's this Dallas defense with Gregory and Lawrence and Parsons and your boy Diggs in the back making interceptions all over the yard. This Dallas defense is playing as well as any unit in the league. So we had Mega O on Friday. He loves the under in this game. That was his best bet of the week. I got it at 47 this morning. I'm not going to give it out as my play because it's Mega O's play, but I am tailing the big O on this under 47. You could still find it on Win. I think there's some 46.5s out there too. Washington's offense, again, with Heineke back, he's missed 2 weeks. We'll see how sharp he is. And the Dallas offense has been a little shaky, but the Dallas defense is going to win this. The Dallas defense will win this game, and I think we'll keep this game under the total.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, so some questions from the chat, guys. Jim, I'm going to come to you for this one first. Should we be worried about teams tanking the first pick this week?
No, you do not ever need to worry about teams tanking. It doesn't exist. It just doesn't happen. I've been in situations where losses would have helped us. It's not even a thought. Do you know how much would go into a game to really, you can't just play football and tank. It's not one of those sports.
You're watching the Lions last week, right? They're going up against a Cardinals team. They could have taken that game and technically gotten a better draft pick, but
and that's no guarantee. And that's the other part. There's no guarantee on who you're drafting. And then it's just not a sport where you can show up and just lay down and get run over. You're going to get hurt.
True.
There's just no such thing as tanking. It just doesn't exist.
Jared, for you, what is your 3-team 10-point teaser?
Jared, here we go, Jared. I'm writing this one down.
That is a big sigh.
Well, they're 0-2 so far. So you sure you want to write this down?
You know what, Jared? Third time's a charm. Have you ever heard that saying before? Okay.
Bucks, right?
On Boyle.
Bucks, Eagles, and I don't think the third leg is in here. I'll be honest. I haven't locked this in yet because I wanted to and Chargers, but it's up. The Chargers one is getting a little bit heavy for me. It's up to 13.
Oh.
So I might chill with that one.
When did that go up to 13?
That's a lot.
As we're talking here.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I'll be honest. Maybe Denver to 10 or 11.
Yeah.
I like that.
Right?
I like that too. Yeah.
I think Denver. The Raiders are not winning by 2 touchdowns.
Denver can win that game.
No chance.
So you know what? There you go, guys. There you go. Broncos plus, I think it's actually, if it's -1, then you get Broncos plus 11 because they're +1 now. Broncos plus 11. Eagles a pick 'em because it's 10. And Bucks -1 because it's 11. That actually, I kind of like that actually. I kind of like that.
like it.
All right, screw it.
That just happened, guys. That just happened. You love to see it.
That just happened.
Yep. All right, let's get into our best bets of the day because I think we're all on the same.
This is either going to go really good or really bad for us.
This is going to either be really good for all of us or really bad for all of us, but we're all rooting together, okay? We're looking at the Bills-Patriots game. I like the Bills money line. This is going to be one of those games. They're going to come back. The pass game is going to shine. I think Josh Allen is going to come back and be stronger than ever in this game. And they're going to win outright against the Patriots. Bills money line at +100. I think now it's down to -105. I would still take it at that. Jared, you're on the same thing, right?
I'll be honest, I'm done giving the handicaps here. You guys heard why I like the Bills. I think the Patriots offense is a little bit handicapped this week. A little difficulty stretching the ball down the field without Harry's questionable and Aguilar's out and Bourne announced in, but the running game was Stevenson. They're, only one of their horses in the backfield. And I think the Bills, I want to see Brian Daboll come out all gas, no break. None of this, Fugazi running game stuff. Take Josh Allen, use his arm, use his legs, and make him the man. This is the game where Josh Allen ascends back to the MVP status that we gave him earlier in the season and at the end of last season. This was a Buffalo team that was one win away from the Super Bowl last year. Mm-hmm. They were one of the best teams in the league earlier in the season. They still have a lot of those pieces in place. Yep. This is the game where they need to prove it. Like the Cardinals earlier in the year, they were hot, and now they're cold. The Bills were hot earlier in the year. Now they've cooled off a bit. They coming off the win against Carolina. This is the game. Daboll and Josh Allen need to show you why they are, as good as they can be. More so Allen than Daboll, but it comes from Daboll first. Then Allen has to execute it.
Buffalo blowing all the way down to New England, Jim. How you feel about it?
Jared just got me fired up. We got to get Jared on. We got to get Jared on Hard Knocks or something. Motivation.
Hey,
you just
how about a coaching job and maybe like a performance and a performance coaching job.
I just can't believe we don't talk about these picks before we all get together. We all have the Bills, so it's like
we all have the Bills.
You know what I hate? Like when on NBC on those Sunday night games when they have 9 people giving out their picks and
they're all on the same side.
They all take the same team, and I feel like Chris Collinsworth's son, always drives me crazy that he does like one little interview and then he gets to make a pick. I feel like I'm Jack Collinsworth right now. I feel like everybody's like, why is this guy? They like Buffalo now. He likes Buffalo too. We got to get a Bills game right. I feel like
we're getting this one right.
This is right. There's no righter pick than this.
This is the pick. This is the pick today.
Yeah.
I love it. The Patriot game, everybody was like, oh, the Bills got embarrassed. No, they didn't. They could have won at the end. The Tampa game, horrible first half. They could have won at the end. Then they're in a classic look-ahead spot last week against Carolina because they're playing the Patriots again. They show up, beat a good Carolina defense. This Bills team is ready to now take the next step, win this game, take over the division, get ready for the playoffs, and let's make a run. Jared, Lauren, we got to be right.
Fired up.
Game. If I could bet over a half Josh Allen hurdle in this game, I definitely would because
Josh Allen rushing attempts prop might be another really. Hold on, let me look that up right now. I'm gonna look that up right now.
Jared with a prop.
I've been on that in the big games all season. Josh Allen rush attempts over 6.5. I'm betting it right now. Go bet it on FanDuel. I'm betting it right now.
He's doing it. Well, he's betting that. We're wrapping up the show. That's it for us today. Find us on the Pickswise YouTube channel. Go to pickswise.com. Follow us on Twitter. Jim Bonus. I'm Lauren Jabara. That's Jared Smith. Best of luck today, you guys. Let's go Bills. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's get it. Let's bet it.